Hey YouTube, brothers, sisters, flat earthers, people in general. So just some thoughts on, that famous clip, if you're a flat earther, of Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about how over the years the rotation of the Earth caused it to be a little fatter down at the equator. From the Earth spinning, it's like pizza dough, and then he says, "Oh, not only that, it's fatter." South of the equator, a little bit south of the equator, it's a little fatter down there than it is north of the equator. And the guy interviewing was like, "Yeah, it's a little chubbier." You know, I'm sure you guys have seen that if you've been following flat Earth. But now we know that doesn't make any sense for the Earth to be fatter from the spinning, because all the water would be there then. I mean, the around the equator, north of the equator, south of the equator, there's both land and water. There's oceans there. There's continents there. So it makes no sense. So the water and the land are both acting exactly the same way from the rotation of the Earth over thousands and millions of years. The rotation's enough to move rocks and mountains in the Earth, enough to make it fatter down there, as well as just keeping the water perfectly, just a little bit chubbier down there, just where the water happens to be. So we know that's just ridiculous and retarded, like all their science basically is. But then I was thinking, because I watched somebody else was talking about that. I watched a little flat Earth video real quick this morning, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen Max Malone's channel, but I like his channel. If you haven't seen him yet, check out Max Malone. But the fact that they say it's a little chubbier south of the equator than north of the equator, well, why would that be? I mean, how does that even make any more sense than how stupid the whole concept of it being fatter at all does? And I'm thinking about it. Well, it probably has to do with the fact that they always show in their globe model, they always show the Earth with south down and north up. Well, if you saw one of my videos I put out a while ago about Australia being upside down under. But, according to the globe model, space is infinite, and the Earth is rotating on its axis, but the fact that south is down and north is up is just how they portray it when you're looking at it. I mean, it could just as easily be north being down and south being up, if space is infinite, and we're just, there is no up or down in space according to that model. But then I'm thinking, well, it has to be because even, even stupid, that stupid idiot Neil deGrasse Tyson is used to looking at it with south being down and north being up. That he figures, oh, that'll make sense to everybody. That'll be a little chubbier south of the equator because the gravity's pulling it down there. Well, no, according to them, the gravity comes from the center of the Earth. Why would there be more gravity pulling it down south towards? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, what does gravity come from the center of the Earth, or does it come from Antarctica? Because if it's chubbier south of the equator because of gravity, why would that be? Or if the Earth is chubbier around the equator from spinning, why would it be fatter south of the equator? Why wouldn't it be equally right at the equator? If it's spinning on the axis that goes from the North Pole to the South Pole, which is the invisible pole. So just one more ridiculous thing to think about is number one, why would it be fatter at the equator? Both of them, there's mountains and there's ocean, and somehow or another they figured out that it's chubbier down there. How did they measure that? How did they figure that out? I mean, are there maps that show that? They never give you any proof. It's always just, yeah, well, we said it was chubbier. Oh, well, let's see how are the maps adjusted because of that? Can you explain that to me, or do I have to get on the phone with the geodetic scientist again for 2 hours, like I did, when I first started making these videos? If you want to go back and check them out, because I was just talking about being sea level. Well, now you got to see, what about sea level at the equator, where it's chubbier? So we got a chubbier sea level down at the equator, and even chubbier south of the equator, because the magical gravity that's supposedly coming from the center of the Earth is coming more from the southern part of the center of the Earth. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. All right, well, I don't know. My mind gets going on these things, and I just can't believe that people buy it and they don't question it. Yeah, so think about that. So it's chubbier at the equator, but it's also chubbier south of the equator. Thus the famous, the oblate spheroid, you know, thing that they always say. So, all right. So just trying to think about what their explanation is why it would be chubbier south of the equator. So, all right. I love you guys. Take care.